We have Lana Del Rey's Chemtrails Over the Country Club.
So you don't have
to. 11 songs, 45 minutes long, and we listen to Lana Del Rey's Chemtrails Over the Country Club, so you don't have to. Way to begin. We should begin with the beginning. Why is she doing this, like, raspy, quiet thing? I'm sure she has a reason. I'm sure it's like, it's a very deep reason, and you only understand it because you won't understand it because I'm me, and I'm a woman. And I understand this because I'm a white woman. I only see race in black and white, only on the cover I have with my friends. And that makes me very woke. I've read a lot of books that I won't let you know that I've read, but these are books that I've read. Wanderlust. Okay, but like, I don't know why she's doing the thing. It doesn't sound great. It's just like very gimmicky, and it's not even much of a like. I'll stop. It's like not much of an evolution from like anything I've really heard from her before.
Going back, we reviewed Norman fucking Rockwell last year. It was okay, except the fact that when she did the Sublime cover, that during the music video when she said qualified to represent the LBC, she was standing in the middle of Venice. I will never forgive you for that. And then second off, so for this, the thing with the raspy voice thing, I don't mind it if it's one piece. Like example, my favorite rapper, 21 Savage. He does that whisper thing once in a blue moon. Every once in a while, it's fine. When you do it for 80% of the album, and you have a good voice.
Good on you for making it through 80%, mate.
when
this thing
you
was
do that
garbage.
and you have a good voice, it just detracts from everything else, and it's bad. And White Dress was a terrible opening for it because it just sounds like you've been smoking Marlboro Reds for 28 years.
Well, listen.
Yeah.
I wanted to get the idea out of my mind that I felt listening to the single that this was going to be like one of the ultimate stinkers of Audioface. But to give Lana Del Rey credit, I skipped like through White Dress, like to just like making maybe the first song's garbage. I'll go through it. Chemtrails Over the Country Club, I skipped again because I heard it already because it's garbage.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's okay. Chemtrails Over the Country Club, that's a decent Lana track. Like it's okay. Like that's a solid like reverting back to kind of her older style-ish sounds. But then the rest of it is not that great, honestly. I'm trying to give her the benefit of the doubt, like disregarding all of this stuff that we've talked about with her before. Her politics and everything else is terrible because she thinks she knows way more than she does. But anyways, getting to the actual music of it, so you got Tulsa Jesus Freak, hilarious title, song not that great. It's again like she's doing that raspy thingy where it doesn't sound that great for the production that she's doing. Because you have other female artists that can do that. Björk, she does that. She's done that a few times, but because the production of it it's very washed out with the vocals. You can't have the vocals be a primary thing when you're doing an effect of that caliber, because then it just detracts from everything else that's going on the track with the lyrics, with the theme of everything. That's all you're going to be hearing.
Yeah,
which is a big problem.
And the production, for what it's worth, has never been like horrible.
No, the production is good. That's what I'm trying to get at. It's so distracting when you have that the vocal filter, and plus on top of just trying something different, which I could. Okay, fine, you tried something different, but don't do it for 80% of a record like that, especially the whispery voice, because we have talked about it before. Because after Tulsa Jesus Freak, right, you have Let Me Love You Like a Woman, which that's probably the one time where she actually like gauges her vocals in a range and everything, and that was one of the few songs I could sit through and listen to the entire thing and be like, okay, it's fine. But then after that, you get Wild at Heart, and it's fine. It's just bland because then you're getting more into these piano slow tracks, and that's the whole thing with the album. It's very, very slow. There's not much substance to it. That's empty at heart. And,
listen, I understand lifelong cul-de-sac girls need music too. All right, but like I'm just gonna cut to the chase. There are songs like Not All Who Wonder Are Lost, right? And it's just like the most. I guess music is supposed to take you to some place of escapism or something like that, but this is music that takes you to a place devoid of like the everyday realities outside of being a white person living in a cabin by yourself with all of your like very close-knit circle of friends, completely devoid of like the world around you. Because like, not that your entire album has to be political or like slightly political.
No,
but if you're gonna taunt and like be this person and constantly deflect all of these things when it's like you're being really tone deaf here, these are all these like criticisms that are valid. It's like what music does. It makes people sort of talk and critique about it and say, what does this art make me feel? And a lot of people are just like, this is meant to be an expression of something, and I don't know if this expression is like fully like adapted considering like your voice and the way you're talking about it. And her response is only to dig in deeper and create something that is like if you watered down mayonnaise with milk, it's just like this sort of like level of bland, and like used it as pulp for paper. It's just so bad.
It's not good because the thing with Lana, her earlier works,
it's so unrelatable. It's just like really unrelatable too.
Very,
like,
very unrelatable.
I struggle to relate broadly with the kind of person who really relates to many of the experiences in these songs. And like I understand like there's a lot of difference in like me and Lana Del Rey, but like there are white women artists who can make music that is like very like relatable in a lot of different broad ways to myself.
We relate way more than Taylor Swift's folklore than we do with this.
That's yeah. So thank you for remembering that, because there was a song on Folklore that was like the last great American dynasty or something. American dynasty. And it was an interesting way of like talking about like not like you're like I'm a white person, I'm like fuck the entire thing. Like you're not like destroying it, but like you're commenting on it in a way that's very self-aware that I was very surprised by.
That's relatable.
Yeah.
She made an album, as much as we gave her shit before, she made an album that was very relatable in different ways, and she tried something different and everything within her range and everything, and made a decent album that we both enjoyed. And this is just completely putting blinders on to anything around you, but you keep the thing with Lana, now getting outside the music, now getting to her as an artist, is the thing that she keeps shooting herself in the foot is by all of the controversies that she gets into. She keeps taking herself bigger and bigger into this hole, because she keeps trying herself to be someone that she's not. Trying to say, hey, I know I'm a giant feminist. I can do all of these things to be politically aware and all of this. And every time I'm like, okay, let me see what happens in your music. Let's see what happens. And it's not. It's the same old thing of Norman fucking Rockwell. It's just really, really bland, no substance, no self-awareness at all, to where not many people can relate to it. Lana stans will probably like it naturally, but I even saw some Lana stans were like, they wanted her to revert now to kind of her older style and older sounds, because they don't necessarily like the direction they're going.
A lot of the sound that Lana Del Rey had that was older, I wouldn't say it was like a predecessor to like the indie sort of like uprising you're having like right now, but there's a lot of similarities.
There's good stuff.
And Lana Del Rey like took that sound to like a popular like constraint. I'd accept it being a little bit popular, or I'd accept it being folkier, because even then, a lot of the instrumentals in here are not like terrible.
No, but the production is fine.
Again, like with Justin Bieber, you've been around for a minute. Grow a little, all right?
Yes.
Like combined, like when you take the music combined with the way she behaves as an artist, which is why like I'm most likely not going to listen to any more of her albums again or review them on this podcast, is that in addition to lacking like not only in like the defense of like valid criticism that sometimes it's difficult because you're like a public figure and sometimes it comes to shitty.
Naturally.
But like sometimes there's truth in that. You can be introspective and think of how that is.
Yeah.
Instead of you're overcompensating for the criticism, because you're not trying to do the inward work for yourself and doing it a little bit, maybe it's a little bit slow, but just like try. It doesn't come off as this is someone who's awkwardly working through things. Yeah. It comes off as someone who's like the kind of person who's upset that everyone's paying attention to racial injustice posts on Instagram and no one's liking their beach pics anymore. It's just like, it is completely like vain and out of touch with the world.
And then going back to the music, with the album, it gets to like out of a level zone here for people who are on camera, but like it's a zone chart of 0 to 10. It gets to like a level 2 and it stays at a level 2 the entire album. And there's not much variancy within each track as well. So that's the other thing too.
It can be a soft album. Give us some 4s and 3s and 1s.
Exactly. Folklore. She did Taylor Swift did that. She would go up, down, side, side a little bit, change it up with the tracks, but still make it a little bit softer. You can do that. It's very easy to do that. But no, not good.
Not good.
Not good.
Stinker. Not the worst album we reviewed on Audioface.
No, it's not. It is. There are many, many way worse things we reviewed. Fall Out Boy, I'm still my favorite worst album I've ever listened to, because I listened to it for 2 seconds. I'm like, I can't do this.
But I'll definitely say for an artist I like didn't really like or care about to begin with, it still managed to like disappoint me even. And maybe we'll get to a redemption of that a little bit later. But first up, the arbitrary scale this week, as we talked about, is Disgraced Alt-Right Shock Jocks. And I'm giving this Caitlin Bennett.
Boo Boo Bennett
Gun
himself?
Girl. Yeah.
I was going to give this to Steven Crowder, but I think Boo Boo Bennett's good too.
Yeah, in between adult diapers and heart palpitations, I think I'm just going to put it between that. Yes, I'm going with low blows, but these are both people who are outwardly racist and would prefer the genocide of people who look like Sean and I, so screw them. Lightly.
So, speaking of Lana Del Rey, though, so she's going to release another album this year, apparently. And she vows to get revenge with her next album called Rock Candy Sweet, because she says that, oh, she had all these accusations of cultural appropriation, glamorizing domestic abuse and stuff over Chemtrails over the Country Club, which we just talked about. And please don't. It's going to be released June 1st. Fuck my life. I don't want to do it.
And like, so here's the thing. Lana Del Rey has a history of... I put a lot of my Lana Del Rey criticism in the previous review, so I'm going to try to move past that. I want to be in a better mood for the rest of what we're recording today.
Because we got better news coming up.
But Lana Del Rey announced Chemtrails over the Country Club basically the day that Norman fucking Rockwell came out.
Yes.
All right? And then Chemtrails got delayed about half a year.
Because of COVID and other stuff.
So, again, if I'm building... This is the only thing I'll like dig back into from the previous reviews you could check out before this. If I'm building a broad sense of the character of Lana Del Rey, who has existed as an artist for a long time, even in a quote, she says, "Just want to say thank you again for the kind articles like this one for reminding me that my career was built on cultural appropriation and glamorizing domestic abuse. I will continue to challenge those thoughts on my next record, June 1st, titled Rock Candy Sweet." It's like, this is such a babyish reaction to it.
Girl, you said my pussy tastes like Pepsi Cola. You like that was one of your first things you put out there. So,
there's a lot to go into a lot of Lana Del Rey's lyrics. I'd preferably would not like to right now, but
that's a line I'll never forget. The first time I heard that song in high school, I think. I go, what the fuck?
And even in the last album, there was like stuff about like I was young and I was in a boardroom full of men and music and stuff like that. And it's like that's like the beginning of the previous album. So like, again, like if
shoot yourself in the foot every time.
And I'm the first to point out on Audioface, on other ventures that I do in the Dan from the Internet universe, that the media like needs to exist as a machine and feed itself. But knowing that, understanding that, especially as an artist, when you are above that machine, you feed things to the machine. You could choose to not feed things to the machine, or you could choose to feed smarter things to the machine that lead you in the right light. So, like, there's only so much blame of the machine, the media, she can do at this point when she knows what's happening. And again, when I'm building this whole character about her, as in, like, is she well-meaning and just, like, horribly missteps all the time? Or is she a bit of a tone-deaf, like, low-key racist? I have a little more evidence here and there.
Yes.
God.